other participants to join in and settle down, and then we'll get started. However, we'll not be wasting this time. We'll be using this time to understand how we'll be conducting this webinar and how can you get the answers to your questions, queries, etc. So, firstly, how we'll be conducting this webinar. So, in this is a live session, and wherein I will be walking you through the step-by-step process of enabling ONDC onto your online store. So first, very briefly, we will understand about ONDC and how you can participate into that. And then I'll walk you through the step-by-step process. Now, while we are going through the step-by-step process, I will try my best to be as detailed as possible so that all of you can understand the process very well. And we'll try to keep this session as interactive as possible. So we'll keep on understanding, and we will take sort of micro breaks after each topic so that if there's anything which is not clear to you related to that particular topic, we can have a discussion around that, or I can like just uh, further elaborate on anything which is not clear to you, right? Now, there are two options available to you using which you can get answers to your query. One is down below, you'll see there's an option called Q&A, capital Q and sign NA. You can use that to ask your questions. Other is the chat. So chat is something that we'll be using while we'll be getting into the micro breaks where after a particular topic, is there anything which is not clear to you? So you can ask your question in the chat and I will share a response to you. So chat is something which we'll be using for the discussion that we'll be having in between the interactions that we will have, me and you. For that, we'll be using the chat. And Q&A is where you can add your questions. So if you have anything which is not related or anything other than what I've explained here, if you want to ask that, you can add that to Q&A. And towards the end of the session, we'll dedicate some time to answer those questions. So I can already see one of the participants has raised their hand. So I'll request if you want to discuss anything, please add that in the Q&A so that I can provide a response to you. Now, I think we should proceed ahead with our discussion. So let me just quickly do a systems check just to ensure that everything is working fine, especially the audio, which gives trouble a lot of times. So audio seems to be working fine, and video I can see is all good. So this is where I'll start sharing my screen, and very quickly we'll get started with our discussion. Now, I'll just take a quick second. There's a window I closed accidentally. So before I start the screen share, let me just open that window once again. So I'll need a couple of seconds to do that. All right, so this is where I am now going to start sharing my screen, and we will proceed ahead. So let's begin. While I'm starting to share my screen, many of you may not know me or have not had the chance to attend one of my previous training sessions or webinars. So my name is Adnan. I'm Director SME Commerce Growth at GlobalLinker, and my focus area is obviously digital commerce. And I look into digital commerce in India and other countries. In addition to that, I actively work on guiding or educating or just sharing information with business owners on how they can use digital to grow their business. And we all understand that digital is the way forward. I don't think there's anyone who will argue to that. But when it comes to like actually doing it, that is where I personally feel, or not only feel, this is something which is quite evident as well, that business owners, and especially micro and small business owners, they struggle with that. So even if they have a very honest intent to do that, they struggle with it. So that's where I try my best to share as much information as possible with them, so that they can do this, they can implement this change, and they can also grow their business digitally. Because in today's day and age, you will also agree that technology is not a challenge anymore. I'll just repeat that technology is not a challenge anymore. How to use that technology, knowing how to use that technology is the challenge. And that's where I try to contribute as much as possible. All right. So this is where I think I should start sharing my screen. I will also share my contact details in the chat. So in case any one of you would like to connect with me, if you need any help or guidance, or if there's something which is not clear to you, if you are stuck somewhere, you can feel free to reach out to me. I've added my contact details in the chat. So this is where I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we will proceed ahead. So in next couple of seconds, you'll start seeing my screen, and we will get started. Just hide this so that it is not obstructing our view. All right, so this is a small presentation which I have, and we will just be going through, so it is not a very long presentation. And as you know that, or as few of you who have attended my previous webinars may know, that I believe in like giving the actual walkthrough, or actually showing the solution which can help you, rather than taking you through a presentation. But this is where it is important that I show you a few slides so that you can understand, or it can at least keep our discussion on the track. All right, so without spending any more time, let's proceed ahead. And I think I'll have to reshare or start sharing my screen, start sharing this slide once again, because it is not going full screen somehow. So I'll do that once again. All right, so again, it is not going full screen. Don't know why it is happening, but let's proceed ahead. Now, on this slide, what are you seeing? So on this slide, I've just detailed out that as a business owner, and this is where we are talking more from the B2C, business to customer, or D2C, direct to customer sort of a business scenarios. B2B is something which will be coming very soon on ONDC, and that is where, if you are a primarily B2B business, so that is where definitely that is an opportunity coming to you in some time. It is not available right now, but it is coming to you in some time. Whereas B2C, which is to customers, which is to retail customers or direct to customer, is something which is already available, and we will be discussing around that. So that is why what example what you are seeing on the screen is more from that perspective. All right. So this is where what I've tried to demonstrate or illustrate in this slide is that just imagine that you're a business owner and you want to grow your business digitally. In that case, so you operate a physical business. Let's say you operate a shoe retail business in Mumbai, and you want to grow it digitally. Now, obviously, one of the most obvious opportunity or avenue that you will notice, or you will try to avail of or work on, is growing your business digitally, right? So creating website or selling on marketplaces. Now I have demonstrated or illustrated both of the scenarios here. So on the top, you're seeing online store. So firstly, you have to put in an effort to create your online store, and once it is ready, you have to put in effort on digitally marketing it. Because having an online store is like having your shop in middle of a desert. Unless you market it, no one will notice it, right? So you have to put in some effort as well as money on marketing it. And this is where I've put in a very simple calculation. Any one of you can do that. So for 100 orders, and assuming you are getting 5% conversion rate, which is again on a higher side, typically it is 1 to 2%, you need 2,000 visitors and 2,000 correct visitors. You may get like 10,000 people, but they are irrelevant and you'll not get any conversions. So it is important that you're getting the relevant traffic onto your website. And if you are getting relevant 2,000 visitors on your website, that will give you 100 orders. And assuming cost per click is 20 rupees, that would cost you around 40,000 rupees, 40 to 50,000 rupees you have to spend to get 100 orders through digital marketing on your online store. So that is your expense. Now on marketplace, if you're trying to do that, so that is where you have to pay commission. And assuming, like, again, average order value of 1,000 rupees, you will end up spending 15 to 20,000 as the commission, or even higher. 15 is a lower side. There are certain categories where you go where commission goes as high as 30, 35%. So that is where this value will also be on the higher side. So what I'm trying to explain to you that when you're trying to grow your business digitally, this is the challenge that businesses face. And ONDC as such has been evolved to overcome this challenge, right? Now let's see how ONDC is actually helping solve this challenge. Now as a seller, what you'll do is you'll create your online store. Once you have created the online store through the ONDC network, and first of all, a lot of people confuse ONDC with a platform. They think that ONDC is like Amazon or Flipkart. It is sort of a platform. No, it is not. It is a network which connects buyer applications with seller applications. So it connects you as a seller to a buyer. So there are certain applications which has a forte, or their strength is in advertising and bringing buyers onto their application. So they are bringing the buyers onto their application. On the other side, there are applications like GlobalLinker, and our strength is sellers. We have thousands and hundreds and thousands of sellers. So the sellers are joining from our side. They are showcasing their products, and their products are transmitted via the ONDC network onto the buyer application. So buyer application don't own the product. It is owned by the seller on which are participating through the seller application. So this is where GlobalLinker is a seller application, and there are many buyer applications like Paytm, PhonePe, MyStore, etc., etc. So the products which are from the sellers are showcased on buyer applications, and buyer applications show them to their customers. The customer review those products and then place an order. Now that order is transmitted again through the ONDC network to the online store, and you as a seller, you will deliver the order to the buyer, and then the payment is again transmitted from the buyer application through the ONDC network to the online store. So that is how the entire ecosystem operates. Now, this is where many of you who are familiar with the working of the e-commerce space, especially the marketplaces, etc., you'll feel that this is very similar to how marketplaces or the existing marketplaces are working. These are like marketplaces where you are, as a seller, you are joining, but there are certain differences as well. First of all, you are not required to sign up at 5 or 10 different places, right? So if there are like 5 major marketplaces and you want to sell on them, you have to sign up and register with each one of them, and then upload your catalog, and then maintain orders, etc. All that effort is required. Whereas the moment you are joining the ONDC network, or when you are joining through a seller network participant, your product is visible across all the buyer applications. So today there are X number of buyer application, tomorrow it will be Y. So across the entire network, so the footprint and the visibility is far greater. So that is one thing which is there. The second is in terms of the overall cost of doing business is significantly lower, because this is where you're not spending on digital marketing, or you're not forced to give offers. If you're not giving offers or high discount, deep discounts, you will be left out and you'll not be getting orders. Nothing like that. You are the seller. You are setting the rules, whatever price you would want to sell, whatever return period you want to set, all that is controlled by you. So absolute control is in your hand, and the cost of doing business is significantly lower, around 3.5%, which is the buyer finder fee, which is taken by the buyer application, because they are again at the end of the day putting in effort, bringing in the buyer, so they charge a buyer finder fee, and that is again added back to the order as a convenience fee, and it's paid by the buyer. So you don't essentially end up spending anything out of your pocket. So this is where you can see I've just again put a simple calculation. So assuming you receive 100 orders and average order value is 1,000, you have a revenue of 1 lakh, and the seller realization is around 1 lakh after deducting taxes, etc., which are obviously deducted. So this is where you get greater exposure, you have more convenience and cost effective as well. So this was about the ONDC network. I've tried to explain it in as short and as simpler way as possible. But still, if there are any questions related to ONDC network, or if you haven't understood, you can add your questions in the Q&A and we'll discuss that towards the end of the session. Now we'll jump on to the main topic or the main agenda. That is, how do you enable ONDC onto your online store? Now, one hypothesis that we are all assuming and agreeing to is that you all have created your online store. In case you have not created your online store, it is very simple. Just go to globallinker.com, and from there you can create your online store. It will hardly take you 5-10 minutes to create it, and then obviously you have to upload your products, do some beautification, enable payment, all logistic. So all that will be required. But once your online store is ready, that is where you can enable it. So in today's session, what I'm going to explain is how you can enable ONDC. I'm not going to explain to you how you can create digital catalog. That is something which I've explained in the Monday session. So every Monday we do a session wherein I explain to you how you can create your digital catalog. In today's session, we are focusing on how you can enable ONDC. All right. So on the screen, you are seeing 4 steps. These are 4 broader steps that you have to do. The fourth one has a few sub points also, which are these sub points which you have to ensure. These are the mandatory requirements for showcasing your products on ONDC. You have to ensure that you are complying to all these mandatory requirements. We'll go through each one of them, but let's understand the first one, which is enabling ONDC on your online. So what is this first step? All right, so this is where I'm going to switch my screen and we'll go to a demonstration account. This is a demonstration account, and the first step which we have already done, which I said I'm assuming that you have already done, that is, you have created your online store and you have already logged into your online store. So this is the GlobalLinker account of the demonstration store, and I have logged in. So we are starting our journey from here. All right, so this is where, as a seller, you already have an online store. This is something which I'm assuming, and we have logged into the store. And this is where, here onwards, I will be explaining to you the steps which are required to enable ONDC onto your online store. All right, so log into your GlobalLinker account, and after that, open the seller panel of your online store. How do you do that? Click on online store, which is an option which you can see here, and then the seller panel opens up. I've already opened that for the benefit of time. Now, to enable ONDC, in the left navigation, you have to click on store settings, which you can see here. There is a option called store settings, right? So you have to click on that, and then you have to click on store details. All right. So we have clicked on store settings and then we have clicked on store details. Now here you can see there's an option called enable ONDC, which is very clear. And all of you will be tempted to click on that and start seeing the options or start seeing what all information you have to fill in. But before you go there, before you jump onto that, there is one more action that I want you to do. And that is you have to click on this option, address. And here you have to just ensure two things. One is your proper address is added. In case while you were creating your online store, you haven't added a proper address, just ensure that a proper actual address is added and your Google location is updated. It is extremely crucial because the ONDC, the entire discovery works on your geo coordinates. So it is extremely important that you should update your Google location. And it is very simple. You have to just type in your location here. It will pick in. So it is powered by Google. So it will easily pick in your location. And once you have done that, just scroll down and click on save. If you have already done this while you were creating your online store, while you are creating your digital catalog, in that case, just review it and ensure that it is all good. Click on save. So just ensure that the address and the Google location is updated before you start the process. All right. Now we will click on enable ONDC and this is where the screen opens up. I have already filled in the details for the benefit of time, but I will quickly walk you through what all details we have to add to enable ONDC. The first field is GST number. This is where you have to input your GST number. Without having a GST number, you are technically not allowed to sell online. For selling online, you need the GST number. So this is where you have to enter your GST number. Underneath that, you will see the bank details. So this is where you have to input your bank account details. Now, this is where a lot of time people ask me, why do you need our bank details? What are you trying to do? So this bank detail is needed to transfer the money to you. So for a moment, if I go back to the presentation and we go back one screen. So this is where just imagine that there was a buyer who came to a buyer application and they placed an order and the order was received to you. You packed that order and you delivered that order to the customer. The order has been delivered. Now, once the order was delivered, the buyer application released the payment and the payment came to GlobalLinker. Now, if we don't have your bank account details, how will we make the payment to you? So that is why we need your bank account detail. All right. So you have to just input your bank account details. You have to input your IFSC code, your bank name, branch name, account number. You have to input the account number. Once again, you have to specify what type of account it is, whether it is a current account or a saving account, the name in which this account is. So the name of the entity or person in which this account is, and then you have to input the beneficiary address. So the beneficiary address, if it is the same as the store address, you can just click here and all the fields will get pre-populated. So you don't have to type anything, but if it is different from the store address, then you can just type in the address here. After inputting the address, then you have to scroll down and this is where you'll see there's a enabled button on your store. It will be in this stage. So it will be like this, disabled. You have to click on that and click on enable. Now, this is a very common miss that we have noticed that many people, when they are going through this process, they forget clicking on this button. So when you are doing that, just ensure that you're clicking on this button, because what they do is they just fill in the details and then they click on save and enable and then they move ahead. Now you might be wondering, why have we given this button? Because there can be a scenario in future that you're like changing the stock or there's some reason for that. Temporarily for a certain period, you would want to delist from ONDC or stop the products from being visible on ONDC, and then you would want to list them again, right? So in that case, you would want to disable it for some time. So this is just a feature, but by default, it comes in a disabled state. So I was mentioning to you that by default, it will be in a disabled state, but you have to enable it. So don't forget to enable it. And then down below, you'll see I accept TOS of ONDC participation. TOS stands for Terms of Service, and it is my sincere request to you that all of you should read this Terms of Service. It will help you understand or give you answers to a lot of questions. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just copy the link here and I'll try to share it with you on the chart. So just give me a couple of seconds to do that. I think I have, yeah, okay. All right, let's I've added a link in the chat. I can see there are a few comments in the chat, so we'll discuss them shortly. So I've added the link of Terms of Service just for your reference. So review that. It is always available on your seller panel. I'm just sharing that link additionally, just in case you would want to review it just right now. You can do that. I've provided you the link, but it is always available on your seller panel. So at any given point of time, you can review it. And in fact, what I'm suggesting to you is that before clicking on save and enable, you should review this document. It will hardly take you 2-3 minutes to go through the entire document, and you'll be able to understand uh, the entire working of ONDC, and especially what are the commercial terms, what are the charges, etc. You'll be able to understand all that. And then once you are done, once you have understood, then click on save and enable, and that completes the step number one. In fact, the step number one of enabling ONDC. Now, I hope everything is clear about step number one. In case anything is not clear about step number one, please do let me know. You can add that in the chat. So in the chat, I have a visibility on the chat. So if there's any question related to step number one, which we have just discussed, please do let me know. I've also chatted my question. Hope step number one is clear. So I don't see any comment, any question coming in the chat. So I'm assuming that it is clear. So let's move on to step number two. What is step number two? Mapping products to ONDC category. All right, so this is where we will again go back to the seller panel and to map products. So this is where so far what we have done is we have enabled ONDC. We have added the details to enable ONDC. Now we have to tell the system that display my products in these ONDC category, because the nomenclature or the terminologies which you have used for navigation on your online store may be different from the ONDC structure, right? So ONDC has certain categories and they have certain subcategories, and you have them on your online store. So your product should go where? You have to tell the system, right? Show my product here. That is what we will be doing in step number two. All right, so for step number two, we will click on catalog. So in the left navigation, there is an option called catalog, and then there is a product. Click on products, which will open the product screen. Now here, you will have to do a manual update for one product. How do you do that? And the rest can be updated in bulk. Again, not trying to confuse you. So how the process is set up after enabling ONDC, you have to manually update, or you have to click here to update one product and the rest of them. So in case you have a large catalog, you have hundreds or thousands of products, in that case, like clicking here and updating each one of them manually will take a very long time, and you'll not like to do that. So we certainly know that, but just one product is something that you will have to update it manually. Let's understand how to do that. So for that, you have to click on the edit button. We'll just use the first product that we have on our screen. Now this is the edit screen, or once you have clicked on the edit button, the screen opens up and here you have the basic details tab. So you scroll down and here you'll see ONDC retail related details. So towards the end of the screen or towards the bottom, that is where you'll see add ONDC related details. You click on that and you'll see a category and subcategory. Two drop downs are there. So firstly, you have to uh, work on the parent category drop down, and that is where once you click, you'll see there are number of categories and subcategories, like so roughly 6 of them. So this is where you have to select a suitable category first. So for example, this product which we are uh, trying to edit is a smartwatch. So it is from the electronics category. So we'll select electronics and then we have to select. So don't try to select in the subcategory first. Firstly, you have to select the parent category, and only after that you should touch on the subcategory, because otherwise it will not be populated. The drop down will not work. So once you have selected the parent category, after that you will come here again, click on it, and you'll see a number of subcategories. And this is where, because it is a smartwatch, so we'll select the smartwatch and then we will click on save. So far what we have done is we have selected the category and subcategory and we will click on save, and the task on the basics tab. So this is where it is the basic details tab. It is done. Now we have to go to price and variants tab, and this is where we have to click on this pencil shaped icon. It will open this overlay. On this overlay, we have to scroll down, and that is where again we will see, or you will see there is an option which says add ONDC related details. Click on that and you will notice there are certain details that we have to add. So the first one is manufacturer name, and the manufacturer packer address, month and year of manufacture, net quantity and net quantity unit. Right? So let's understand each one of them. So the first field is manufacturer or packer name. Manufacturer means the organization or the company who has manufactured this product. Now, for example, the smartwatch, if it is manufactured by, let's say, Noise or Boat, in that case, the manufacturer name will be Noise or Boat. However, in case that is not readily available, you can add your name as well, because you are the packer of the order. So in that case, you can add your name here. But ideally, in an ideal scenario, it should be the manufacturer name, but it is or. So that is where either the manufacturer name or your name has to be added here, right? So I'm just adding dummy here. And then manufacturer or packer address. Again, either of the manufacturer. So if the smartwatch is from the Boat, then either Boat's address or your address, because you are the packer, right? So this is where again I'll just add dummy address, and then month and year of manufacture. You don't have to be very specific about which day, but month and year. So for example, if it is November 2023, so 11/2023, like that. So month forward slash and then the year 2023. Net quantity, so this is one smartwatch, so I'll just add one unit. In case it is a edible product or a cosmetic product, so for example, it is a 100 ml bottle, so you can type 100 ml as well. All right, and then we have unit here, so this will be one unit, and it this is where you have the measurement unit. So like whether it is 1 unit, 1 dozen, 1 gram, kilogram, ton, liters, milliliters, etc. So this is 1 unit, so we'll just type unit there. So again, very quickly touching upon what all fields do we have to add here. So manufacturer or packer name. So manufacturer or packer, again, not getting confused. It has to be either of the two. It does not have to be both of them. So either the manufacturer's name or your name. You are the packer because you are the seller. So either of the two. Similarly, manufacturer or packer address. So either the manufacturer address or your address, and month and year of manufacture. So month / then year. Then quantity, so net quantity. So this is a smartwatch. I've typed 1 unit in case you're dealing in cosmetic item or you're dealing in groceries, and that's where you have 1 kilogram, 1 unit, 10 kilogram, that like. So you can add 1 kilogram, 10 kilogram here, and then you have to specify. So if it was 1 kilogram instead of 1 unit, so I would type 1 here and I would write kilogram here. All right. So that is how you have to do it. And lastly, we have to click on save. So this is where we have updated one product. We have done that manually. So we have done both the parts. Now, this is combined step number 3 and 4. I've done that deliberately because I wanted to explain that in the flow, or when you're doing that, you don't have to go at multiple places. So this is where we have done the category mapping, and we have also added the mandatory detail. Now, in certain categories, especially in grocery, there are additional requirements. I'll just show you a quick example. So I'm going to select grocery as a category, and I'll select, let's say, snacks. Where is snacks? Here we have snacks. So here you can see IFSC code of either of the three. So either the manufacturer or brands or importer, in case it is imported item. In that case, the FSSI code of the importer or other FSSI license number, whichever is available. So either of the three, any one of the three is required. So these are few additional requirements which you'll see there in grocery category, and their mandatory details which we have filled here. They are also slightly different. So for example, if I'll just very quickly add a hypothetical number here, and we'll go to price and variant. Now you'll notice that this is where the additional details which we have to input here on this overlay are very different. This is where they don't have to specify the manufacturer name, address. They have to specify additive informational and nutritional information. So these like special categories or special information requirement are only there in the grocery. For rest of all the categories, it is pretty much the same. You have to just specify the category, and then you have to specify the manufacturer name, etc. So let's do that again. Let's select that, and we will come back here. Let's see if the details are there. Yeah, they are there. So we have updated one product. So what I mentioned to you earlier, that as part of this category mapping activity and updating the mandatory information, you have to update one product manually. And what I've shown to you is how you can update one product. And you don't have to do it across all the products. Just one product is something that you have to update manually, like this, how I have shown to you. All right. Hope it is clear to everyone. Just one product you have to update like this. Now we will use the bulk methods to update the rest of them. So the first step after you have updated one product using this manual steps which I've just shown to you, you have to click here and click on download products, which will open an Excel file. I'll just quickly open that file. I will have this file very quickly. Just give me a couple of seconds. I'd already opened that file. So this is the file. I'll just in a little bit. So this is the file which will get downloaded, and this is where we can see the smartwatch product which we had updated. So this is where you can see the details are here, smartwatch and electronics category. So this is one. Now for rest of these products which are there, you can just easily update the categories here. So you can just input the parent category. Now the important point, or the point where you can make a mistake, is that this is where the parent category is the next column. The first column is subcategory. So this is the subcategory, this is the parent category. So just make sure you are not doing a mistake in that you're adding the parent here and the sub here. That will not update your products categories or ONDC categories properly. So you have to ensure that you're not doing that mistakes. This is the parent category and this is the subcategory. Just populate the fields in case it is the same category. Just copy it like this, very simple. Like this, save this file, go back to the seller panel. This is where, and then click on upload, and the categories will get updated. Now, the important point to remember here is that you have to do it step by step. You can't like do one step. You can't do download this file and do the steps. You have to firstly update the products manually, how I showed to you. Once you have done that, then only you should download this file and then update it and upload it using the update product. And once it is done, then you can go ahead and you can download this file, download CSV. Let's download that. This is the file. Let's zoom in and let's look for that product. Sorry. What was that product? Men's smartwatch. I'll just copy the name from here. Here we have the product. This is the product. I'll just highlight that in a color. So this is the product wherein we had added all those details. And if you scroll towards the right, this is where you'll see these details are added. In fact, I think I'm confusing you a little bit. So I'll just freeze the top rows so that will help you understand. All right. So where is our product? This is where we have, in fact, let's delete everything in between so that it is better. So this is the product on which we have updated the mandatory information. We went to that variant overlay, if you recall, and that's where we updated that information. And on this file, if you again scroll to the extreme right side of the file towards the end, so after the filters column, you'll see we have those columns: net unit, quantity, manufacturer name, packer address, month and year of manufacture. All those columns are here and the values which you have added. Now, what you have to do is just populate these columns. You have to populate all these columns, and they are again very simple to populate. So once you have populated or added information in all these columns, it is important that you should not be missing out on any of the columns. If any of the column is blank, your product will not be displayed on the ONDC network. So it is extremely crucial that all the columns are filled in properly. So once you have filled in the information in all the columns, save this file and then go back to the seller panel. Now you have to use this option, bulk edit CSV. You have to use this option and upload this file and the ONDC mandatory information, which is step number 4. We haven't gone back to the presentation, but step number 3 and 4, both of them will get completed. So very quickly, I'll just recap the steps that you have to do. So after you have enabled ONDC, which we did, we learned about that when we were seeing the store settings, so that enable ONDC section. Once you have done that, you have to come to the product sections, click on catalog, click on products, come here, and here you have to edit one product manually. Click on edit, go to the basic details section, scroll down all the way to the bottom. That is where you'll see add ONDC related details. Select the category. After that, select the subcategory, click on save, and then scroll back up. Go to price and variant, click on the pencil shaped icon. Here again, scroll down, you'll see add ONDC related details. Add all the details like manufacturer, packer name, etc. After that, click on save. Once you are done, go back to the product interface, management interface. Here, click on download products. It will download an Excel file. This is the file which will get downloaded. On this file, you again towards the extreme right side, you will see there are two columns, category and subcategory. Populate these columns or fill in the information, fill in the categories and subcategories into these columns. Save this file, go back and then upload the file using the upload products feature. Once you have uploaded the file, you can sorry. Once you have uploaded the file, you can come here again on the seller panel, click on download CSV, and Excel file will get downloaded. This is the file which will get downloaded. On this file, again towards the extreme right side, you'll see there are columns for the mandatory information which we added on the overlay. So you have to input the information for all the rows which are there. So we have just added it to one row. We have to add it to all the rows which are there. So once you have added it to all the rows, you have to save this file and then again go back, click on bulk edit CSV, upload the file, and this is where you have completed two steps. Step number 3, mapping product to the ONDC category, which we have done firstly manually, and then we have done that using this file, the product update file, and then we have added the ONDC mandatory information, which we have again done here in this overlay, and then we have done that using this variant update file. All right, so we have completed step number 2 and 3. Hope these steps are clear. So we will again have a quick micro break to just discuss if there's anything which is not clear. I'll go to the presentation mode once again and let's hide this. So any question related to step number 2 and 3? Yes, I can see there's a question by Punya Solanki. Yes, Punya ji, you can edit one product at a time as well. So it is not mandatory that you have to follow the bulk Excel file process. I was just sharing that there are many members or many participants who have a fairly large catalog. So it is not practically possible for them to like go and manually edit each one of them. But if you want to do that manually, like the way I showed to you, yes, certainly you can do that. So that was one question I saw. So I think there are no other question related to step number 2 and 3 about mapping the products. Next question, I am not very clear on that, Chitra. Mapping is almost the same in all ONDC online stores. But why would you have more than one ONDC online store? If you're referring to ONDC category, yes, it is more or less the same other than grocery category. And even in grocery, there are certain categories where FSSI codes are required. Other than that, it is more or less the same in case you are referring to ONDC categories. But principally, the objective of ONDC is, or one of the core objective of ONDC is that you don't have to list at 10 places. You have to just have one online store and you can sell across the entire network. All right. So we will now very quickly move on to step number 4, and it is equally important because this is where what will happen. You have done all the hard work and created your digital catalog, your online store, and then you have enabled ONDC and you have done the category mapping and you have done added all the ONDC mandatory details. You have done all that, but still your products are not visible on ONDC network. Why so? Because you have missed to comply with the ONDC mandatory requirement. That is point number 4 in our discussion. That is extremely important as well. So this is where we'll quickly switch our slide and this slide, and I've listed down all the ONDC mandatory requirement and we'll go through them, each one of them very quickly. There are not very complicated ones. The first one is product inventory should be more than or equal to 5 units. So what it means that for each product, the inventory should be at least 5 units. If it is below 5 units, the product will automatically not displayed on the ONDC network. So, for example, you had 6 units of inventory in one product and a order is received. In that case, two orders are received. So it was six, two orders received. Now it is four. In that case, that product will automatically stop from being visible on ONDC network because on ONDC, if you have items which have low inventory, they will not be visible. So that is where it is crucial that you should maintain a 5 unit inventory. Now, how do you check inventory in case you are wondering? So very quickly, I'll show you how you can do that. So we'll go back to the seller panel and you can do that in bulk or you can do that manually as well. So I'll show you the bulk process first because it is quicker and you can do that very, very quickly. So how do you do that? So you have to download the file from here, download CSV, and that file is this one where I showed to you the mandatory information that we have to add. Now, in this file, you'll see there's a column called quantity, which means stock. So here you can just put a filter and you can see if there is any product that has less than 5 units of inventory, you have to just update that inventory, increase that inventory above 5 units, and that problem is solved. So very quickly, within like 1 minute, you'll be able to check that. So this is a suggestive method. However, if you would want to do it individually, you have a fairly small catalog and you would want to review the inventory manually, you can do that as well. How do you do that? So very quickly, just click on the product title. So I'll just do that. So for example, this is the product, clicking on the product title, and you'll see there's an edit button there. Click on that, and which will open this overlay. On this overlay, just scroll down slightly. You don't have to scroll down all the way to the bottom. Just scroll down slightly, and you will see there's an option called stock. Currently, we have 9 units of stock. You can add stock or you can remove stock to increase the stock. You can click on add stock. Right. So this is how you can update the inventory if you want to do that manually. I would not recommend doing that. The other method is far more quicker and easier to do. But if you want, you can do that. Now, let's move on to the next step, which is minimum one image should be uploaded. Yes, that is mandatory. At least one image should be uploaded. So when you're adding your products to your online store, ensure that at least one image is added. One is mandatory, minimum required. All right. So we'll move on to the next point. Summary description should be more than 60 characters. I'm not saying 60 words, 60 characters. It should be more than 60 characters. Now, how do you check for it? Again, I will firstly show a more easier method and then I'll show the not so easier method. So the easier method is you download this file. You click on download products and this file gets downloaded. Now here you can use a Excel formula. It is equal to LEN and then select this cell in the, sorry, I think, yeah. And then select this cell in a summary column and it will give you how many characters are there. We have 252 characters, which is good. And we can just copy it. So these products where we have 40 characters, this is where these products will not be displayed on the ONDC network. So you have to add a slightly longer description and 60 characters is like fairly short. So you have to add a description. Now, this is how you will be able to identify the products where you have challenge, where the description is shorter than 60 characters. And these days you have AI tools available. So easily you can use AI tools to generate the description. So this is the easiest and quickest way to identify the products which have issues. And when you have to update the description, again, you don't have to go back to the seller panel and manually edit it. All you have to do is to just copy paste the description here in this cell and upload this file. How do you upload this file? Come back here, click on update product, upload this file, and the description will get updated. So this is the easiest and the quickest way to solve this challenge. Now, not so quickest way would be you come here, click on edit. Now this is where you'll have the entire description. You can copy it and then there are tools available, or you can do it on a Word or Google Doc as well. So you can just copy paste it, and it says 75 characters. So this is the character count. So this is where if you identify a product that has less characters in the description, then you can again work on increasing that. So this is another option which is available. If you would want to do it manually, this is another option, not so efficient, but as an option it is available. This file is not only helping you in identifying the products where you have an issue with the description, but you can straight away just add the description here in the cell and then upload this file. So it helps you in solving that problem also. All right, so we will move to the next point. Product price should be greater than zero. It is kind of obvious. Why would you want to sell a product which has a zero price? Now, again, how do you check that? So we will be using this file. How do you download this file? So this option, download CSV, this downloads this variant update file. It also has export variant in the title, so you'll be able to identify. Now here we have a column called selling price. So this is where again you can apply a filter. You can quickly check if there are any products which has zero price, and in case there are products which has zero price, you can just update the price here in this file, save the file, go back to the seller panel, click on edit CSV, upload this file, and the problem is solved. So this is again a easier way to solve this problem. And not so easier way is clicking on the product title, click on edit, which will open this overlay. On this overlay, you can see the price. In case it is zero, just change it and then click on save and update it. So this is the other method which is available. Going back, product type should be checkout. Now this is where many of you who are not familiar, you may be getting confused. What is a checkout? So I'll just explain that with an example. So I'm just very quickly opening an online store of a seller, and they are into industrial products. So I'll just quickly open a product. Now this is where you can see it is send inquiry, and this is another example where you have add to cart. So as I mentioned earlier when we were starting this session that the ONDC at the moment is for B2C, where you're trying to sell to retail customer or direct to the customer. So for that, this kind of an experience where people can place an order, this is something which is currently working. This kind of an experience where you are generating leads or inquiries, this is something which will be available on ONDC very soon. So stay in touch in case you want to have this kind of an experience. But this relates to the point in our presentation that the product type should be checkout. So it should be this kind of an experience. Now, how do you check whether it is checkout or inquiry? So there are two ways. One is a more efficient one and a less efficient one. So let's see the more efficient one. So the more efficient one is click on download product. This file gets downloaded. Here you will see the column is there of product type. Where is that column? Here it is. It is not entirely expanded, so that's why. This is that column. So here you can see there are two types of products that we have, inquiry and checkout. So all these inquiry products will not be visible or displayed on the ONDC network. Only the checkout products are visible. So in case you have any product which is updated as inquiry, mistakenly updated as inquiry, you can just change that to checkout, save this file, go back to the seller panel and upload this file. So this is the more easier way to doing or making the change. If you want to do it manually, just click on the edit button along the product title and then scroll down. This is where you will see there are options like checkout and inquiry. Just ensure that it is checkout. If it inquiry is checked, just uncheck it and click on save. Or not confusing you, you can still have inquiry and checkout together, but checkout has to be checked. If it is unchecked, in that case, your products will not be visible on the ONDC network. So just ensure that checkout is checked here. All right. So that is how you can solve for this point, which is product type should be checkout. The minimum order quantity should be 1. How do you check for that? Firstly, while you are uploading the products, you have specify the minimum order quantity. If you haven't done that, by default it is 1. But if you would want to check, then you can just open the product edit details on the basic tab itself and see the minimum order quantity. It is 1. So you don't have to worry. It has to be 1. If it is a greater number, in that case, there is an issue. The product visibility should be either B2C or both. So again, how do you check? So the more efficient way of checking it is again in bulk. Download this file, and this is the file where we did the category mapping. And this is where we have the visibility tab. Somehow I think I deleted that tab, I think. Third product, country of origin. I think I deleted that tab, or let's download it once again. While it is getting downloaded, if you want to check it manually, you can do that. Just scroll down, and this is where it has to be either B2C or both. If it is B2B, then your products will not be displayed. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, I was trying to download this file. All right, so let's wait for it to get downloaded. Let's move on to the next point. Product customization should not be enabled. So what is product customization? So product customization is related to gifting items. So for example, you can get your image printed on you can get your image printed on a mug or on your phone cover, etc. Those kind of things. So if at the moment ONDC is not supporting those kind of products, in future with version 1.2, they will be. So whenever it is available, till that time, you have to. If you are in that space, if you are into gifting items, you cannot sell them on ONDC. But in future, very soon, in very near future, you'll be able to do that. But at the moment, if you have those kind of products where people have to share some image or some message, so those kind of customizable products are not available. And in case you have enabled your customization, I'll just quickly show you from where you can disable it. So on the seller panel, click on edit. And here we have customization, which is currently not enabled. But if it is enabled, just disable it from here. All right. So that is about this point. Now, about the other point that we were discussing, where is that file I just opened? This is the file. I think by mistake I had deleted that column earlier. So this is the visibility column. This is where you can see both B2C. Now, the only thing that you have to ensure here in this column, it should be both or B2C. It should not be B2B. If it is B2B, then your products will not be displayed on the ONDC network. Just ensure that. So click on save and upload the file from here. All right. So that is about this point, visibility point. Customization I've explained. The last point is integrated logistics should be enabled. What does it mean? So we have various integrated logistic operators which are pre-integrated onto the platform. You have to ensure that at least one of them is enabled. To enable integrated logistic, click on store settings and then click on shipping. And we are here. So here you'll see courier services. Just ensure that at least one of them, any one of them is enabled. And we have provided tutorial videos also here. So you can review these videos and they will help you understand the step-by-step process. It is very simple. Within few minutes, you'll be able to enable them. It is suggested that you should enable either Varmaship or ShipRocket, whichever you're finding more suitable, but at least enable one of them. All right. So this will conclude your ONDC enablement. Whenever you have concluded all these steps and you have ensured that none of these issues are there, it will take about 48 hours for your products to start appearing on the ONDC network. All right. So this is where I will stop sharing my screen and we will break into the question answer round. So I can see there are a few questions in the Q&A, and if there is anything you would want to discuss, please do add that in the Q&A. I can see the first question is from Mr. Manoj, although it is not related to NDC, but I'll very quickly answer that. Just a quick second to answer that question. Let's hide this. So the question is, how do I change the store URL? So to change the store URL, you can do it from here. So come here to store settings, store details, and change it from here. Once you are done, click on save. So this is the place from where you can change it. Store details, come here and change it. All right, so that is the first question. Next question is from Radhika Agrawal. How do we connect with buyers? So if you're referring, if your question is about the ONDC network, so on the ONDC network, if you're joining as a seller, in that case, you will not be connecting with the buyer. The buyer application does that. You will be receiving orders from the buyer applications, and then you will be fulfilling those orders and delivering them to the customers. Next question from Mr. Punya Solanki. Solanki ji's question is around seeking authorization from the brand. So uh, I think it is better that you should have an authorization, because tomorrow you would not want to get into trouble. You are being served legal notice that why are you selling our products online without our permission, right? So it is better you seek a clarification or authorization, or at least intimate them that, hey, we are selling online, and if you have any concerns or issues, please do let us know. So at least inform them that this is what we are doing now, so that you're safeguarded. You would not want to get into any legal issue. So for that, it is always better. Next question, anonymous attendee. Tissue paper, if you're referring to what we use in our household, that will come in grocery categories. I think in cleaning and household, grocery and cleaning and household. Next question is from Mr. Avdesh Singh, and his question is quite interesting. So he wants to understand what should be the pricing strategy. So, and I'll answer this question in two parts. So, firstly, Avdesh ji, and this is, I'm not just referring to him or addressing to him, I'm addressing everyone. So the ONDC B2C, which I showed to you, this is for domestic India. There is a export arm of ONDC, which is under development. It will be available soon along with B2B. So that is where the international ONDC will start happening. And that is where, when you're setting the pricing, you can set up the exchange rate. We already have a auto currency switcher feature on our online store, and the same will be pushed when the ONDC goes international. But at the moment, for the domestic, we all understand that India is a price sensitive market, and this is where, because you don't have to take the burden of digital marketing, or you don't have to pay out the commissions, you can pass on little benefit to the customer, and obviously you will be able to attract more orders. The next part of his question is about the shipping part. So on ONDC, you can decide what shipping fee you would want to charge. Now, the last step which I mentioned, or the last compliance checklist item, was integrated logistics should be enabled. Now, when you are enabling that integrated logistic, for example, you are signing up with ShipRocket. So ShipRocket will provide to you that these are the charges that we will be taking from you for delivering these orders. So, for example, if it is metro to metro, these are the charges. If it is rest of India, or if it is Northeast, these are the charges, right? So they'll be providing you a rate list. Now you can use that rate list and you can set up shipping zones. There's a feature called shipping zone. You can set that shipping zone feature, and you can charge delivery fee from the customers who are placing an order through the ONDC network. So the customer may be on my store, but the rates which you have specified on your online store, those will be applied to them, right? So you can take the shipping charges. Now you have also asked what should be our strategy. So as I mentioned, India is a price sensitive market. So that is where try to be as close to the pricing which is charged by the courier companies, right? So try to charge as close as possible, so that you are not burning a hole in your pocket. At the same time, you are not discouraging the customers from placing an order. So that should be your strategy. Next question is from Mr. Abdul Hamid. Abdulji, I mentioned earlier as well, the export and B2B part of ONDC is uh, going to come in future. So whenever that is ready, that is where we can have this discussion about the export point. Next question is from Mr. Vijay. Mr. Vijay, I would request if you can drop me an email with the URL of your online store. I can review and let you know what is the current status. I'm just sharing my email ID directly with you in the chat. So share with me your online store, and I'll let you know uh, what can be improved to get better conversion. Okay, so Vijayji has clarified that he has registered his products on my store, so I can't comment on that. But if it is GlobalLinker, then I can certainly review it and share my inputs and suggestions. Next question from Bapi Devnath. Devnath ji, the customers or the ONDC uh, setup, which I explained a little while ago, it is for India, for retail customers, for the international ordering, and for B2B. It will be coming in some time. It will be there, but it will take some time to be operational and technically rolled out. But it will certainly be coming. So you can create your online store, and by the time your online store gets ready, and you can start expanding it yourself, and whenever ONDC is there, you can start participating into it in the international space. I can see there's a comment by anonymous attendee. They were facing some challenge with changing the URL. So just share your online store with me over the email. I'll try to get the issue fixed. Don't worry on that. Next question, again, anonymous attendee. The question is ONDC is connected with which e-commerce portal? So there are a number of buyer application and seller application. If you want to understand more, I would encourage you can go to the ONDC's website. Just search for ONDC on the internet on Google, and you'll find ONDC's website, and there you'll get an entire list of who all are the buyer application, who all are the seller application. You'll get the entire list, and you'll be able to understand the question. Major names like Paytm, PhonePe is there, My Store is there, Craftwilla is there, Meesho is there, and Flipkart and Amazon are also participating, but they are not in the B2C space. They are participating in the logistic and B2B space. But like all the major names are there, then Magic Pin is there. There are few cab hailing applications also there on the ONDC network, and there are many seller side applications as well. Next question, Mr. Manoj, can we add third-party shipping companies like Ecom Express, delivery, etc.? Now, it is mandatory that you should enable these logistic companies. Unless you have enabled, your products will not be visible on ONDC. But once you have enabled this, then you have your choice whether you would want to ship through ShipRocket or Mamaship or through any third-party courier company, like you would want to ship it through India Post. You can do that. That is your discretion. But enabling it is mandatory. So next question is from Mr. Avdesh Singh. So how do I find more buyers? So finding more buyers, you have digital marketing. So many activities are there for digital marketing. You start marketing your business digitally, start running ads on Google, Facebook, Instagram, or any other platform where your customers are, or you can start emailing activity in case you have a marketing base. So if you want to find buyers yourself, then the channel is digital marketing. Another question I can see from anonymous attendee. When ONDC is enabled, will it be visible on all platforms like Amazon, Flipkart? No, it will be visible on the platforms, on the buyer applications, which are part of the ONDC network. Amazon and Flipkart are not part of ONDC network, at least at the moment. Paytm, PhonePe, My Store, Craftwilla, Spice Must Try. There are many other Meesho. So those are the buyer applications which are part of the ONDC network. And yes, your product will be visible there. So those were the questions I can see in the Q&A. If there's anything else, any last questions, we can take those. So I am again sharing my email ID in the chat in case you have missed them out. I've shared the email ID with everyone in the chat. All right, so I am not seeing any further questions. So this is where we will conclude this session for today. I hope you found the session informative, and you already have my email ID. So in case you need any help or guidance or assistance, please do feel free to reach out to me. All right, so this is where we'll conclude the session for today. Thank you everyone for taking our time and participating in this session. Have a wonderful evening ahead. Bye-bye from our side.